Now this is getting exciting. Hello everybody and welcome back to another Archie Sonic Explained, and this time we're finishing the awesome climax of the Iron Queen arc and the aftermath. Let's get started. So Snively's big plan was for Regina to use her techno magic on the nanites Nicole used to make new Mobiletropolis. It's a good plan, but maybe not the best writing admittedly. Personally, I find it a bit goofy that Snively, who was completely privy to the nanites from the start, wouldn't have thought of this from the beginning. Speaking of the nanites though, it turns out Tails has been keeping up with the biplane, stating that he wouldn't call himself a mechanic if he relied on the nanites for maintenance. Sonic begins to share something with Tails, but sirens ring and Nicole alerts everyone that the Iron Dominion is approaching, noting how strange it is for them to have made no effort to hide their approach. The comic uses its paneling to enhance the humor of Sonic saying, "Yeah, and I don't like the looks of this at all," as a way to double talk Khan dating his ex and the Iron Queen dilemma. Nicole warns the Iron Queen as she confidently approaches the kingdom, and with her magic she takes control of Nicole, opens the city gates, and the Iron Dominion begins invading. Sally tells Bunny to leave because, you know, she's half robot, and she begins to fly away when Nicole creates a dome around the entire kingdom. There is no escape. The Iron Dominion has locked everyone inside and chaos ensued. Sonic tells Sally and Khan regroup, and she tries to come up with a plan to debug Nicole in order to regain control of the nanite. Tails says it can be done, but only if they are managed to escape and make it to the Freedom HQ's lab outside of the city. Suddenly, Jun-kun, the Iron King, attack. He tells them to relent, but Khan isn't having any of it, telling Sonic to take Sally and find an exit ASAP. Snively takes the opportunity to find Eggman, who is still lost to his madness in the Acorn prison. He gloats to his uncle that in mere minutes, he will do what Eggman couldn't. But when did Snively lose all his hair, Eggman asks. Victor finds Antoine and Bunny and wants to round up the Chaotix as well before using the warp ring to escape. Antoine tells Bunny to accompany Vector because of her vulnerability to Regina's magic. She admires his tenacity, but she's not leaving her husband behind. Nicole uses the nanites to begin capturing everyone and tries to stop the tornado from escaping. A quick spin dash does the trick, and our heroes begin looking for a way out. Jun-kun tries to attack a distracted Khan when Amy steps in and tells him to fight fair and swats him for calling her tiny. Khan calls her amazing and she giggles, gleefully assuring Khan that she can handle things and that he should go help Sonic escape. This is peak Amy. Quick side tangent, I grew up with Sonic X, and that version of Amy has always stood out to me, biases aside. She was a girl who was passionate, sweet, direct, and occasionally stubborn. She grew from the damsel that she was in Sonic CD, and she wasn't like modern iterations where she's typically a mild-mannered woman only interested in feminine things. No, she's a sweetheart and a total badass, and despite the fanbase despising this characterization for her, it was always a welcome and distinct trait that made her stand out to me. Anyways, Khan uses his Nimbus Cloud to catch up with the tornado, telling Sonic that Amy stepped up against Jun-kun, which Sonic, having full confidence in Amy, isn't the least bit worried. Khan uses his lightning baton to blast a hole through the dome, allowing the four of them to escape. Remember when I said it was a tad goofy that Snively didn't have the foresight to have Regina use her magic on Nicole sooner? Yeah, well, Sally is beating herself up about that as well, upset that she should have seen this coming a mile away. In a swell bit of character, Sonic motions Khan over to speak with her. Khan comforts her, saying that the blame isn't hers to take entirely, as they all should have seen this coming, which I agree with. And Sonic gives it to her bluntly, saying that she's acting like they've already lost, even though they've managed to escape, and tells her to stop wallowing in her self-pity. She almost argues with him, but realizes that he's right. "The two of you baffle me," Khan says. Sonic negs him, saying that it's only something that he can understand from a serious relationship over time. Khan fires back, assuring Sonic that he'll come to understand that very soon. Sally asks Tails for progress on debugging Nicole, and Tails says it's hard to keep up with her code. Sonic brings up the digitizer from issue 171, I Am, and the plan is now to load themselves into Nicole's data and restore her from there. Sally and Sonic ask Khan to watch over Tails and the base while they enter cyberspace. Quickly, they find Iron Nicole, and Sally begins to reason with her. And just when it's looking like it's working, the Iron Queen shows up ready to delete our hero. Sonic ponders how she was able to access cyberspace despite Mobiletropolis not having a digitizer. As the Iron Queen attacks Sonic and Sally in the real world, she tells Snively to not bother her, which causes my girl Leandar to joke about him not getting the attention that he wants from his boo. That aside, she gives him an update stating that the Legion and the Dominion are capturing anyone they can find. One of those happened to be Sonic's uncle Chuck. Eggman asks him how his roboticizer was coming along when Chuck loses his temper, telling Eggman that he has no patience for his babbling. Eggman begins to mutter to himself, and slowly he becomes conscious again. Another quick aside, I recently learned that Charles built the original roboticizer, which is one hell of a plot twist in a retrospect. It's the whole science has built a machine for good, but someone used it for evil trope that adds layers of depth to this story. Anyways, Nicole is able to spin dash and matches Sonic blow for blow. This makes him worry. Tails and Khan continue to monitor Nicole's code, but things don't look good. Khan asks if Nicole has hardware, and Tails tells him that she was uploaded into the city's mainframe. Khan asks where it's located, and Tails shares that it's beneath the Acorn Castle, but doesn't see how going back to the city would do them any good right now. No good can be done at this point, says Khan, as he exits the lab. As I was reading, I chuckled as I respect how cutthroat Khan is once I realized what he was planning, but then Tails realized it too. Tails flies after Khan, who reasons that there is very little chance that she can be restored and therefore Nicole had to be destroyed. Tails prevents this by telling Khan to not give up hope, that it wasn't impossible to save him or Bunny from the Iron Queen, telling him that he needs to believe in Sonic and Sally. Meanwhile, Sally realizes that she can apply codes that she's familiar with in cyberspace as if they were magic. She once again has a plan, ordering Sonic to go on the offensive against Regina. Then Sally creates a firewall with her and Nicole inside, momentarily liberating Nicole of Regina's control. Nicole puts up a new safeguard in her coding so that Regina cannot regain control of her again, and she's upset about what has happened in the last issue. Nicole states that while she's safe now, the Iron Dominion still has the advantage of having reinforcements at the Egg Dome as well as in the Dragon Kingdom. Even if Nicole were to retake the city right now, the Iron Queen could come back and do everything all over again with the kind of manpower that she has. Sally compromises. She plans to have Nicole pretend to still be in Regina's control until Sally and friends handle her reinforcements. Sally's firewall breaks, and before Regina could attack Sonic, Tails pulls them both out of cyberspace. Sally informs everyone that Nicole is now safe and undercover, but they will be heading to break the Iron Queen's support in the Dragon Kingdom before retaking the city. Seems a bit of faith went a long way, and they have a long way to go toward the Dragon Kingdom. As someone who's doing coverage on the Archie Sonic story, Sonic Universe has been a tad inconvenient. To clarify, the Shadow Saga had a neat story that branched off of Hedgehog Havoc and the Raid, but ended up drifting into its own story of Team Dark's origin, which is nice, but not relevant to the main plot that was being told alongside it. 30 years later was fun, but it was the worst offender of this by sidetracking from the main plot entirely. For this reason, the segment is pretty skippable in my opinion. The Knuckles saga is sort of the same case, even though there's a few details in it that are sort of relevant and brought up again in the Iron Queen. Now, before I catch any heat for saying that, hold up. I'll acknowledge that a bulk of the main story derives from the lore established from the older side comics back in the day. What I'm mentioning isn't even a problem to me personally, but I just want to illustrate why I find Journey to the East so good in this regard. It walks a fine line between being a required read and optional content. It does this flash forward thing in the first issue, which sort of threw me off at first, but basically the Spider Ninjas, unlike the ones from the Darkest Storm, captured Tails, Khan, and Sally as soon as the crew arrived in the Dragon Kingdom. The Spider Ninjas did this to bring Sonic to their bride. Sonic agrees, and once released, Sally and Khan have a heart-to-heart about feeling like she's failed, but he gives her the reassurance she needs. Though notably, it's different from Sonic's earlier bluntness. We meet with the Bride of Endless Nights, who Khan and Sally introduce themselves to formally. Sonic and Tails? Not so much. It's cool to see Tails carry the same confidence that Sonic had. Normally you'd expect him to be formal and polite, but after everything, he's earned this. Sally and the Bride of Endless Nights discuss her daughter Uma Arachnid. She worked for Ixis and August a while back and laid eggs that hatched into the Spider Ninjas from the Darkest Storm. After catching up, she leads the crew to the Web of Fate where her clan is able to read fortune. Khan gotta interrupt her to ask why his people have suffered if she's been able to foresee events. Why hasn't she shared any of this with the rest of the Dragon Kingdom, he asks. She tells him that the web is hers and only meant for her, that the web foresees results but not the reasons leading up to them, and angrily tells him that his tone is crossing the line. Sally interjects, talking things out with the bride, and manages to win her over. The crew take shelter in Li Yun, elder of the Stormtop village, for the night, enjoying their dinner when suddenly a kunai comes flying through the window. It's a message from the Yagyu leader requesting a meeting with them in the morning. On their way to the meeting with the Yagyu leader, Sonic and Co are ambushed, but Sally makes note of how easy they are to take down. A Yagyu member is overwhelmed by Khan, who asks them if they're going to let them see their leader or not. Apparently, the ninjas mistaken the group for common travelers. Sally ponders how negotiations will proceed with the Yagyu's new lord since their bride was slain. They arrive at the Yagyu temple, and Khan advises the Yagyu lord that next time to inform his clan so that there isn't an ambush. The new lord tries to provoke Monkey Khan by mentioning his loss to the Iron Queen and how she made him slay his own friend. Sally calms Khan down before negotiating peace. The lord dismisses Sonic and Tails, which Tails doesn't appreciate. He did fight against their clan a second ago. After complying though, it seems that when it comes to convincing our new Yagyu friend here, Khan and Sally have their work cut out. Tails is still outside yelling about his accomplishments when Sonic tells him to chill out, saying that he shouldn't get so worked up over some lowlife. Fiona, unexpectedly, chimes in saying that he has a thing for lowlife. The boys pursue her, but she outmaneuvers them in a bamboo forest. Sonic starts cutting down the bamboo when he's downed by Sergeant Simeon. Soon, we see that the Destructics are reassembled, most of them anyway. Sally struggles to negotiate with the Yagyu leader, as he isn't interested in reinstating the bride system into his clan again, as they were liberated by the bride's death. So Khan thinks of a new deal, reject the Iron Dominion and the bride system altogether, and return to the Yagyu's lawless days that he's yearned so long. They wouldn't be under the rule of Khan as king of the free people, as his role would just be to keep the peace between the clans instead of overseeing them as a whole. This way, the Yagyu wouldn't be tied to a code of conduct, nor be threatened by the other brides of the other clan. Negotiations finally proceed. Later, Sally worries that his deal would cause problems in his kingdom, but Khan theorizes that with their power dispersed, the Yagyu will either split up or fight amongst themselves, which Sally finds incredibly tactful. She and Khan share some romantic teasing back and forth before discovering Sonic and Tails at the feet of the Destruct. Immediately, Sally puts on her game face and leads them into a battle. I rarely comment on the Destructics as much as I should, but believe me when I say that I definitely get a kick out of their dynamic. Fiona halts the fighting and begins explaining that she wants our heroes to help out. You see, during the skirmish in Hedgehog Havoc, Fiona got the slip and made her way to what remained of the Destruct. Needing some muscle, she asks Sleuth for his team, and he lends them to her, saying that he saved up enough money as a mercenary to live comfortably and leave. They will let her lead them on one condition, they say, that she gets Lightning to rejoin. Since when did you guys care so much about each other? They explain that Lightning was one of their original 4 members. Sonic doubts that so much loyalty is being thrown around since, Fiona's involved. She starts to take advantage of the now diminished feelings that Tails once had for her, asking him to vouch. You know me better than anyone, right? You said so yourself. You know I'm good on the inside. Sally walks up to her and blasts her in the chest, ending her toying with Tails. If you want to deal with us, then deal, she says. The Destructics want their friend back, and Khan wants the Lynx clan to denounce the Iron Queen. Since Lightning wants to stay, the question becomes, how do they kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Fiona has a plan. Hawk, Frog, and Tails fly Sally and Fiona over the fortress wall and engage the enemy as Fiona and Sally disengages the inner gates. Khan, Sonic, and Sergeant Simeon brute force their way in from the outer gate. The teams coalesce in the throne room where Conquering Storm waits. For the 3rd time now, negotiations begin, with Khan asking the Raiju bride to break away from the Iron Dominion. Conquering Storm says that they'll only be won over through action, and Khan proposes a duel. If the fighter Khan picks loses, they'll surrender to the Raiju clan and the Iron Queen. If Storm's fighter loses, she'll renounce the Iron Queen. She mutters to herself that it's a win-win either way, and selects Lightning as her fighter, and Khan picks none other than Sonic. Lightning panics, stating that he won't allow Sonic to destroy the honor he restored to finally return to his clan. Sonic, unrelenting, delivers a barrage of spin attacks, then apologizes to Lightning but says that his city comes first. What comes next is a very heartbreaking scene of Lightning being banished again from his clan. I could be wrong here, but was Lightning a love interest for Storm at some point? Because it looks like he's about to plead his love for her before she shuts it down. Don't know. You guys always have a habit of knowing more than I do, so let me know. Anyways, Sonic tells Fiona that he didn't agree to this. The Destructics welcome Lightning back, telling him that he was never one of the Raiju, and that his clan would cast him aside eventually. You can see how furious this guy is as Fiona promises him revenge. Can I take just a second to acknowledge how simple yet effective the writing is for Lightning in this issue? Me personally didn't know zilch about the guy until now. He was in exile and found family with a group of mercenaries until eventually he was called to be reunited with his clan and presumed loved one after years of clearly wanting that very thing, just for it all to get taken away again by the world's strongest. Poor guy never stood a chance, and Storms knew that. She knew he was expendable and she never cared. But I care about Lightning Links. Ian Flynn is an absolute mad lad who got me to care about some no-name lackey. This channel from now on is a Lightning Links house. Conquering the Storms agrees to the terms, and the heroes leave, noticing that Fiona and her group didn't stick around either. Speaking of, Tails thanks Sally for knocking the wig off Fiona earlier. Sally claims it really isn't her style to be so brutish, but didn't want to sit by and allow Fiona to have her way with Tails again, and the boys have a good cheer about it. Now, they need to find the last clan of the four houses, the Shinobi clan's unknown hideout, and luckily, an old friend shows up to guide the way. Monkey Khan almost attacks Espio when Sonic stops him. Khan shouts that he is a traitor. Sonic opts to hear him out. Fine, have it your way, says Khan. I usually do, says Sonic. Sally questions Espio, who clarifies that he is operating on behalf of the Bride of the Constant Vigil, who's instructed him to bring them to a meeting with her. Sally tells them that as of now, his word alone isn't good enough. He decides to reveal their secrets to gain their trust, which, like, okay, he's a spy ninja. How is telling them that he's good at his job gonna fix things? But I digress. For Sonic, it's the sneak. For Tails, Captain Super Foxman. For Sally, her birthmark. And for Khan, confirmation that other copies of him exist. Might have to come back to that one. Anyways, despite not entirely being convinced, the heroes reluctantly agree to blindfold themselves as Espio leads them to the Shinobi clan hideout. Espio leads them to the Way of the Blind and then vanishes. Tails opts to fly them across the gap in the cave, but Khan stops him and shows him that there are traps overhead. Sally throws some dirt in front of her, discovering what lies before them is an invisible path, and Sonic, well, he takes care of the rest. After making it across, they meet the bride. They ask her to renounce the Iron Queen, and just like that, she says yes, short and sweet. Wait a minute, Khan shouts. He begins to go in an outrage, but Sally calms him down, and he starts speaking amiably. He asks the bride why the Shinobi clan didn't fight for their land, why they sided with the Iron Dominion in the first place. She answers that for generations her clan kept the other clans in check and policed the clanlet, but years of doing that led to a decline in her clan, which prompted them to instead operate from the shadows. Because of this, she chose to keep her clan out of the drama with the Iron Dominion and the other clan, being cautious in not allowing her clan to be wiped out, much like Dragon Kingdom's freedom fighter. However, Espio's deviation from his original mission is what inspired her to begin taking action again. Sonic asks, "What mission?" With the bride's permission, Espio tells them everything. So the Echidna tribe have a long history of, guarding chaos energy, right? They're one of the most powerful groups on Mobius, so the Shinobi clan felt they shouldn't go unchecked. So for generations, each Master Emerald Guardian was assigned and monitored by a Shinobi. In other words, Espio was sent as a spy for Knuckles all this time, not to become his friend, not to join the Chaotix, but to keep a watchful eye over him to make sure he didn't abuse that power. This reveal blew my mind. Despite his decision being taboo in his clan, the bride acknowledges that he had made the right decision and from now on allows him to act freely. She tells him to grab the fan of Fane Shin on his way back to Mobotropolis. We get Espio back, y'all. Reveal aside, the four houses have been separated, meaning Khan needs to assume his responsibility as king of the free people. The next day, our heroes say their farewells to Li Yuen as Tails preps the tornado. Feeling more confident than when they arrived, he set off back to Mobotropolis. This was my favorite issue of Sonic Universe so far. Okay, so I'm gonna split the video here. Don't worry, I literally have everything already recorded. I just have to finish editing the other half. With that said, expect the next video within a day or two, and don't forget to spread love, y'all. Goodbye.